This is my first lesson of music to you in your living room. I want you to know that I'm gifted to teach you how to play the musical instrument. Some of you have seen me play before, and I have some videos already posted on YouTube and some of them on Facebook. So I'm confident that even though you cannot come to some of the locations that we have in New York, I want you to know that even at the comfort of your home, you will be able to learn how to play this musical instrument. So today I'm going to go to lesson 1. I want you to grab your notebook, because you're going to need your notebook. This lesson, the first lesson, is free. So when I'm done teaching you, I want you, if you can get along so well with my style of teaching, then I think you'll be able to learn, a lot from me. I'm a professional educator, and I know that you'll be able to learn from me. Okay, so let's get started with lesson 1. So today I'm just going to teach you what I'm about to teach you is something applicable for any instrument whatsoever. So I'm going to start first with the musical staff. S-T-A-F-F. Let's call this lesson 1. Staff. Now in music, you need to have an understanding of the staff. Now the word staff is different from the way we are used to for staff. Now we know staff to be the members of an organization. The members in an organization. That's what staff really is. But with music, it's different. Okay, and I want to show you the difference between the regular staff and the musical staff. So I'm going to want to make this, instead of just staff, I'm going to want to call this musical staff. I'm going to add this adjective to it. Okay, so this way we know the staff that I'm talking about. Now, what is a staff? What is a staff? Or if you will, what is a musical staff? What do you think? A staff actually has 5 lines and 4 spaces. A staff is a combination of 5 lines and 4 spaces. 5 lines and 4 spaces equals to staff. 5 lines and 4 spaces. Now let me show you the 5 lines and 4 spaces. This is line 1, line 2, 3, 4, and 5. So how many lines do we have? Let's count. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and that's 5. How many lines? We have 5 lines. How many spaces do we have? Let's count. That's 1. This is space 1, space 2, space 3, space 4. Alright, let me go ahead and label this out for you. This is line note 1, line 1, line 2, we have line 3, we have line 4, and we have line 5. Do you understand it? I think so. Now, let me label the space notes as well. This is going to be space 1, space 2, space 3, and we have space 4. Now a combination of the 5 lines and the 4 spaces is what gives us a musical staff. Very good. Now having said that, so I think it's about time that I take you also to the way you count, the line notes and the space notes. In this lesson, my focus really my learning objective is to teach you on staff. So that's my focus for lesson 1. All right. Now let's go further. So with the space notes and the line notes, I want you to see the way I have labeled them. Space note, you count from the bottom up. Okay, space note, bottom up, you have S1, S2, S3, S4. From bottom up, you count the note from the bottom up. Same as the line notes, you count from the bottom up. So you have L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. You cannot have L1 like that, L2, you can't have it like that. You start from the bottom and you go up. Now the other aspect that I need to explain to you on staff is that you have to know the difference between a tone that is higher compared to the tone that is lower. Take for instance, if we have S1 and L1, and the question could be, which of these is higher on the staff? Is it the S1 or is it the L1? Let's take a look at that. This is S1 and this is L1. Now you tell me, which of this is higher? Is it S1 or L1? I think it's S1. S1 is higher. That's higher. In other words, if we have a note over here, let's say you had a note over here, and you had another note over here, this is going to sound higher than this one, because this is this is above the L1. S1 is above the L1. So let's compare another thing. Let's compare two other different S3, like S3 and L3. Let's compare those together. S3 and L3. Let's compare them together. Which of these two do you think we have the higher tone? Which one of them will have the higher tone? Let's look at S3. That's S3, and this is L3. S3 stands for space note 3, the third space note, and L3 is the third line note. So which of these two is higher? S3 is higher than L3. So S3 is going to have a higher tone than L3. This is going to be higher. Okay? So S3 is higher. Let's compare L5 and S4. S4 and L5. Let's compare those together. Now, this is space note 4, the fourth space note, and this is the fifth line note. And for information again, the line note gets to 5, the space note only gets to 4. Okay? So we have L5 and we have S4. Which one of them is higher? This is S4, that's L5. So I think L5 is higher than S4. So in that case, L5 is higher than S4. So if we had a note here, and if we had a note here, this is going to be higher than that, and this is going to be higher than this, and this is going to be higher than this, and this is going to be higher than this, and this is going to be higher than that. This is going to be the lowest of the tone. Okay? So at this time, I'm going to want to show you something. Let's take a look at this. This is something that I want you to do for me. Okay? I want you to take a look at this very carefully, because I'm going to want to get some feedback from you. It could be via email. Sometimes I could send you some questions and I want you to answer the questions for me. And at the end of the whole program, I'm going to send you a certificate of completion. Okay? Now let's take a look at this. This is what I want you to do right now for me. In your notebook, I want you to draw the same thing that you see here. Put it down in your notebook. I want you to draw for me a staff. As you can see, you have 5 lines and 4 spaces. Can you see? Look at that. 5 lines plus 4 spaces equals to a staff. That's exactly what I have here. 5 lines and 4 spaces equals to staff. Okay? So having said that, when you have that in your notebook, I want you to now do me this favor by drawing the same thing that you see here. Look at this. You have the 5 lines, 4 spaces. You have the staff, okay, in the box. And then you label the line notes. Okay? So you have line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and line 5. Does that make sense? Let me turn this around. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and then line 5. I want you to do the same thing for me. And then the space note, we have space 1, space 2, space 3, space 4. And then let's recap, everything we've learned. Number 1, what is a staff? What is a staff made up of? Now to answer that question, let's look at question 1 here. Can we get to question 1? It says a staff is made up of, what do you think? A staff is made up of 5 lines and 4 spaces. Again, a staff is made up of 5 lines and 4 spaces. And then question 2 is this. The lines are always counted from the bottom of the staff to the top. Remember when I showed you this? You start from the bottom to the top. Line 1, L1, L2, line 2, L3, line 3, L4, line 4, and L5, line 5. Same thing as the space note, S1, S2, S3, and S4. Now let's go back to the questionnaires that we have here. Now question 3, it says the spaces are always counted from the bottom of the staff to the top. Remember what I just showed you? You count from the bottom to the top. Look at this. S1, S2, S3, S4. And then let's look at question 4. Question 4 is interesting though. Look at that. It says the third space is blank, higher or lower than the third line. So let's look at the third space. This is the third space. We are comparing third space and third line. This is the third line. And this is the third space. Which one is higher? L3 or S3? S3. So therefore, the third space is higher than the third line. Does that make sense? The third space is higher than the third line. So now the other question that we have here is to compare the second line to the second space. So let's look at the second line. This is the second line. This is the second line. Line 2. We're comparing that to the second space. And this is the second space. Which one is higher? Second line, or second space? Second space is higher. So therefore, the second line is lower. Okay, did you see that? The second line will be lower than the second space. Okay? So, let's quickly recap. I want us to have a reflective period right now. What is a staff? I told you a staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. And one of the ways to recognize that is you can as well just put up your hand up like this. How many fingers can you see? Tell me you're saying 5 fingers. Alright, you're saying 5 fingers. Alright, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just make sure I have 5 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a staff has 5 lines and how many spaces? 4 spaces. Space 1, space 2, space 3, space 4. Okay? A staff can never exceed 5 lines. Okay, a staff can never exceed 4 spaces. There's a different concept, and that is ledger lines, but that really has nothing to do with staff. That's just some sort of additional lines, you know. But when we get to that lesson, I'll explain that further to you. Okay, so now we have come to the end of lesson 1. I want you to look forward to lesson 2. Lesson 2 is ready prepared, it's ready for you already. So I want you to go on my website. Let's take a look at my website, www.jmmeducation.org. That's my website. You can subscribe to lesson 2 on my website. The information is there for you. If you love my teaching style, and if you think this is understood, if you think you could easily understand lesson 1, then lesson 2 will not be a problem, lesson 3 will not be a problem, same as the rest of the lessons. I have trained so many people how to play the musical instruments. I have tons of people that I've trained on how to play the keyboard. I have several people playing the keyboard that I personally taught, thank God for that. And I have folks that I've taught how to sing better. I have taught different people. In fact, I'm beginning to forget some of the people that I have impacted their lives. I've taught people how to play percussion instruments, and I'm beginning to teach people how to play the guitar instrument. So I want you to log in, come to my website for lesson 2, okay? So I come your way again on lesson 2. Lesson 2 is available. If you think you already have a good grasp on this one, then look forward to lesson 2. Go online, go to my website, you know, do the right thing, subscribe online. You can make payment in any manner, and you will have lesson 2. Alright, till I come your way again, see you on lesson 2. Bye now.